beautiful is Gwen Stefani looking today? Woo!
Wait, before we get going.
What's that?
I can't believe I'm here right now.
Why is that, Gwen?
Because I cannot believe how rad and magical my life is. I woke up number 5 on iTunes this morning with Used to Love You, which is like a true miracle to have a song that is so reflecting this time. Crazy year for me. And I just can't believe I'm going to be on the radio and that I'm here right now and that this is happening. Like, can you pinch me?
Before you were a mother, I'm sure if you saw poop, you'd be like, ugh. But as long as it's your kid's poop, you're good with it.
It's
the same
like
with dogs.
their poop. I like it. No, I mean, it's still a little bit like, oh, really? Okay.
But
It's
it
still
is different.
But it is different. You do anything. Like,
Yes.
like you, whatever. Like,
I have a gag reflex, like a
I
really
do
bad
too.
one. You do?
You're reminding me of like this one time I was with Kingston at the grocery store and sometimes you give them food like because it's just like they're eating it. You haven't paid yet.
Yeah.
And he ate something and he like spit it out and I didn't know what to do with it. And so I just put it in my mouth and I was like, oh my God. And I was literally going to throw up because I was like, I just put some chewed food in my mouth.
I can't believe
Even though it's my own kid.
the Gwen Stefani interview's been on for 2 minutes. It's the most disgusting thing. But Gwen, Used to Love You. And my feeling, and I know you'll agree, the reason why it's resonating is because of the press, everything going on in your life that unfortunately we all know about, and sometimes you don't want everyone to know everything. That song is part of your soundtrack, of your real life. There is this bond of honesty between you and all of us fans. And so we know it's coming from a very real, raw place. That's why we love it. And a lot of artists don't understand that if you don't make that connection, you're just another artist. And that's what makes you different.
Well, thank you.
You really connect.
I do. I mean, I feel like that's kind of been my life journey because I have to just keep reminding everyone, like if you knew me from Anaheim, like back in the day, like Patty and Dennis, Stefani, and my brothers and sisters, and growing up in Anaheim, like the fact that I am here right now and I have songs and it's insane. Like how did that happen to me? I have no idea. Like I'm just a regular girl, you know what I'm saying?
But that's why it happened to you.
But I'm saying when I started learning how to, not learning, I just all of a sudden my boyfriend dumped me, like I thought was the love of my life. I just wrote songs. Like I started writing. I didn't even know I could write a song. And it was just like all of a sudden I became quite empowered. Like it became like, whoa, okay, like a wake up, like, okay, this is my gift, like this is my, and so that's crazy because now I'm doing it again. Like I hadn't done it in a long time. Like I hadn't been able to write in a long time.
Let's figure that out. Why do you think that is? Was life just going along so swimmingly well and there were no bumps? And I
think what happens is like, I think that in your life you go through so many different phases, and like, especially with success or, as like with art, it's kind of like you get kind of, I don't know, it's like you can get blocked. And I think that with everything that had gone down in my life in the last 5 years, it got blocked.
Pharrell said something interesting, and I saw it on ET the other night. Pharrell said, I'm grateful that Gwen is in the most free place that I feel like she's ever been since I've known her as a human being, not just with her creativity side, but just as a human being. She's floating right now. So you know what? Things line up, the planets line up, and it just gives you that propulsion you need to do whatever you want to do. And this is something everyone listening can relate with. I
have to tell you, Pharrell was like a prophet angel to me.
Isn't he amazing, by the way?
He literally is, and I don't even understand again. Like, the first time we collaborated was not Hollaback Girl, was Hella Good with No Doubt. And I don't know what it was. I think Jimmy Ivey from Interscope was kind of wanting to put us together, but I just had a feeling about it, and I really had to be like, come on, No Doubt. Come on, you guys. We got to do this. Like, it's like they never worked their hip-hop. Like, we should try this. Like, it was crazy idea, and we wrote that song together, and that song changed so much for us. Like, it really, that whole Rocksteady album. And then to cut to, like, him going through kind of he had a little bit of a lull period for a minute, and then all of a sudden he busted out with like 3 of the biggest songs of the year.
Yeah, like within 10 minutes of each other.
And it's like, and then my kids are coming home from school going, we love this guy. And I'm like, by the way, like that's my homie.
Isn't that funny?
Like you want to look at some pictures on the internet of us together?
From MySpace.
And that's when you're cool to your kids.
Yeah, I was trying so hard to be cool, and I was like, at that time I was pregnant and like with Apollo, and then and then I hadn't talked to Pharrell in a long time, and I wrote him. And I sent him a video of my kids doing Happy, like everybody in the world has done. And he wrote me back, and I just given birth, and he's like, "Hey, you want to like come to Coachella and do Hollaback Girl?" And I was like, dude, like, okay, maybe in a black like jumpsuit, like I could maybe.
So you made it real.
I literally, like, it was 4 weeks after giving birth. I think I ended up on stage. The first time I left my house after giving birth was to walk on the stage and do Hollaback Girl.
Fun. Well, I want to hear a new album.
When are you having a new album?
When are you going to give birth to a new
I know.
album?
When are you going to have that?
When are you going to have it? When am I going to have your new album?
I have a crate. Oh, wow, that's my song on somebody's phone ringtone. That's so awesome.
Someone is so bought into their job.
I love you. That would be Brenda, everyone.
Hi, Brenda.
That was so cool. I went into the studio. Everybody knows what what happened to me. Like,
Did something happen?
Got a divorce or whatever, and which is completely was not in the plan at all.
Is it ever?
I don't know. I don't know. But for me, it surely wasn't.
Right.
And a shock and a horrible, crazy explosion in my life, which I've said before. And at that time, I was like, I wanted to go in and write. And I had a plan to make a record. And I made a record the year before, really. But I hadn't written it. Like, I was kind of like, I just had the baby. I was that time with Pharrell going, and I started The Voice. And I'd done, I did Baby Don't Lie, which is interesting how those lyrics worked out to be like a precursor to the future. And it's crazy, like, how, like, I don't know, like, I just didn't feel comfortable not writing my record. Like, it didn't feel right. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't time.
It wasn't time. And then all of a sudden I went in, and it was one of those things where I had to force myself to go to the studio because I really just wanted to be in bed, like, crying and, like, do what you do when your life falls apart. And I did it. Like, one of my girlfriends, Sophie Muller, who does, like, a lot of my creative stuff with me, videos. She did Used to Love You video and Don't Speak and everything. And she's one of my best friends. And I don't know what it was. She was, like, with me the whole time during this whole thing. I mean, literally FaceTime wherever she was in the world. Like, one of those people that you're like, how are you that great? Like, how are you that great of a friend to me? Like,
isn't that fantastic to have someone like that?
Jacket, by the way. Okay,
great jacket.
That's how great she is.
She understands you.
She knows that I like sparkles. And so, anyways, I went to the studio, and I just was convinced that I had to make something out of this. Like, there's no way. I'm not going to go online and waste my time. I'm going to do something creative. And I went to the studio and started writing. And I wrote my first song, and it was like a little, like, rosebud, like, just
like a spring awakening.
Yeah. And then it just started going like this, and it was like, wow, it's happening. Like, I can do this. And I know that every time I go in the studio, I'm going to write a song. And it's like the most incredible feeling, because literally there's nothing like writing a song. I had written a bunch of songs, and I was so proud of it, and, like, couldn't believe it. Like, for me, it was like I channeled God. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, that's how intense it was. And the record company was sort of like, well, we think you made a really artistic record, and maybe you shouldn't go for radio and just put it out. And I was kind of like, oh, you just punched me in the stomach, and I have no wind, and I'm like, I can't breathe right now.
Those record company people.
But that's what they do, and they've always done that. And so the next day, I went in the studio, and I wrote Used to Love You. And I was like, do you see this finger? This is the middle finger. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I loved them. Like, if they didn't push me, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I basically went in, I was like, look, guys, like, let's write a song that's, because they said the record they thought was too personal, which is so weird, because I always felt like that's what I...
Don't listen to them.
And then, but now it's crazy, because once I had that song, all the other songs kind of make sense now, where...
Right.
I couldn't see that they didn't until...
And it is personal stuff.
It's just a weird...
It has to be. We love having you here. You always have a home with us.
Thank you.
Understand, you'll always be protected and always be cool with us.
Oh, my God.
And just understand that. It's very unusual, because, you know what, you with everything that's been going on in your life, you could easily show up to an interview and they would just, like, corner you and start asking you all these crazy, crazy questions.
You going to ask me the crazy ones now?
I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to do it.
Oh, my God, I love you guys.
No, we don't have to do that. I'd rather not ask the questions, because I just want to assume I know all the answers.
You know everything.
Which they're all wrong.
And you know what?
Sure.
Even if you can just make stuff up, everybody else does. It's perfect.
But you know what? Again, and this goes back to the very beginning of our conversation with you, Gwen, before you leave. Used to Love You. Obviously, if we assume what's going on in your life has been going on, this song is a very personal thing. And that honesty that you're sharing with us is so key and so important. And that's why Gwen Stefani's been Been around since 17 years old, and now she's 26.
I know, it's crazy. Time's flying.
And Used to Love You, available right now, an album to be determined, and we'll let you know as soon as we know more about it. And, of course, you're going to hear your double hit of Gwen Stefani coming up. Thank you so much for coming in to see us.
That was so fun.
Have
Thank
a
you,
Merry
guys.
Christmas.
Thank you.